Hey, it's your boy Marc Strictly here, and we're here to talk about Strictly Laughter. Yes, Strictly Laughter on Friday the 27th of March. And we've got a massive lineup. We've got Gary Delaney. Yes, we've got Gary Delaney from Live at Apollo and Mock of the Week. We've also got Kay Kurd, Fern Brady, Eliott Steel, and Kazim Jamal. I cannot wait. All at the Dugdale Theatre in Enfield. Where'd you get your tickets from? I hear you ask. We get your tickets from www.strictlylaughter.com, where we're on our second release and very, very limited tickets at that. See you soon. Welcome back to Strictly Laughter presents Strictly Banta. Okay, we're going to go straight into a topic right now. Randomly, I'm going to go into... Oh no, I'm mucked up again.
People think Londoners aren't friendly.
Ooh.
Great stuff.
Hold on 1 second. And Elliott's topic is...
Why do people think Londoners aren't friendly?
I'm getting used to this, people. We're getting used to it. So, we'll start off with your topic. Why people think Londoners are not friendly? Mr. Eliott Steel.
I think we are friendly. I think we are a friendly bunch because, like, whenever I go up north or something, people always like, oh, down south, you lot aren't out. Yeah, I've been to London before and it wasn't very friendly. And I always have to be like, what was you doing? They're like, well, I had to get the tube to Wembley to go. I was going to see, I've got these mates from, like, Blythe. Mm-hmm. One of the comedians, Guy Humphries, right, I was mates from Blythe, and they were telling me the first time they came to London was to watch Ja Rule.
Oh, God. Yeah, I can see why I wasn't friendly.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah. And they were like, oh, yeah, it was just so, because we were like, we got that, because people think London, like, I think when people come outside London, it's not like anywhere else in the UK in the sense of how vast it is. Like, there are bits of London. Like, today it took me near enough 3 hours to get here.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, so you fucking should be.
Your check's not in the post.
Like, it's so vast and stuff. So I think people come here and they're just overwhelmed by how vast it is. But I always say, if you're getting a tube and it's hard to work out where to get somewhere, and you ask someone, people are more than happy to be like, oh, what you actually want to do is you want to get the Northern Line to here. You got to change at Bank. There's a bit of a walk onto the Central Line, and it's cool. People are sound.
You think so?
There's a time and a place for it. Like, if you are just sat on a tube and someone tries to spark up conversation, it's like, nah, man, I'm trying to just get to where I'm going. And also, there's so many nutcases. Like, one time I was on the tube, all I was doing was Victoria to Oxford Street, 2 stops. There was a homeless guy sat on a tube. He brought his own seat. There were seats free. Brought his own seat.
He brought his own seat onto.
He brought his own seat onto the tube, like a plastic chair.
Okay.
And he got a tin can of like curry. It was a ready-made like curry in a can
from Easy Jet shop.
But it might as well have been. And he was like straining it. He was like straining it into a sock. And this guy just looked up at me and he was like, what are you looking at? And I was like, how do you not want me to look at this? Like, how am I not meant to watch this? Like, you can't do that and then look at me like I'm the fucking wrong un. So that's what I mean. In like, people probably get on a tube, experience something like that, and like, London's not friendly. But we're talking about New York. When you go to New York and you ask people, like, because the New York subway I find very difficult to navigate. I got off at JFK, and like I'm excited. I'm in New York. I'm 21. I'm about to go stay. My mate was staying in a nice place in Manhattan. I was like, oh, all I've got to do is get down to the financial district. So I go. I'm like, right. I'll get off at the. For some reason, I didn't set my city mapper up. I was like, I'll just work it out, innit? I go to the guy at JFK. I'm like, yeah, how do I get down to there? And he's like, oh, what you want to do is you want to get the like rail to the Jamaica Center. I was like, cool, I'll go to the Jamaica Center, innit? I'll go to Jamaica Center
in Queens.
I'm like, I wonder why it's called the Jamaica Center. I get to the Jamaica Center and I'm like, that's why it's called the Jamaica Center.
That's the urban circuit. I wasn't booked for this. My agents.
This is where I found out about the American race divide, isn't it? Yeah. Like, I got to like this black lady. I'm like, hey, what train do I get? And she's just like,
you're in the wrong place, boy.
Yeah, you're in the wrong place.
You're in the wrong place.
I'm there with my little red suitcase. Like, and then I go up to this big tonk guy I'm like, hey man, how do I get to her? And he's like, look, he's like, get on that next train. And he's like, get off here. I'm like, is that how I get there? He's like, no.
Like, just get out of Dodge, motherfucker.
Just do that.
Get out of Queens.
I swear to God, that's what he said. And I was like,
Postcode wars.
Yeah, bro, and I'm there like, well, I'm from Fulton Heath, innit?
I'm from Croydon, black.
Yeah. I was like, no.
Wow.
Because when I first went to New York, I was like 11, innit? My dad took me.
Right.
My dad's like a big James Brown fan and things like that. Okay. So my dad wanted to go to the Apollo Theatre.
Nice.
But he just takes his, like, from what I know of, like, when I was telling the American comedians this, innit? My dad just took me to Harlem, me and my sister, and just made us walk around this bit of Harlem. Wow. And like, when I was telling them, they're like, no, you're not meant to go there.
Not anyone, black, white, Greek, from England. We should not be walking around Harlem.
Because I told this, I was talking to this one black dude from out there. I was like, what would happen? Like, just say I went up to the Bronx. I went to like 150th Street. Just if you don't know New York, there's like, basically, I didn't know this, but they're like, there's a bit where if you're white, you are not meant to go. They're like, don't go there.
Only if you're Eminem.
Is he the only one who gets a pass?
I say so. Eminem's cool.
Eminem gets the pass, right? So I was like, what would happen if I went up there and this dude just went, man, I ain't even black enough for up there. Because I was really concerned. Because I was like, what? I just wanted to know what would happen. Like I was just like, what would happen?
What will happen? It's like, what? White privilege don't happen out there, bro. What would happen if I went there with $500 in my pocket? You'll come away with no bucks in your pocket and no pocket.
They robbed your pocket.
You'll be running down the road naked like, oh my God.
I was like, what would happen is like, you'd get out. It's like, probably a police car would come up to you and be like, what are you doing here? Woo! And they'll just be like, are you buying drugs?
Yeah,
they were like, that's what would happen. They'll be like, they'll just think you were buying drugs, and then they'll hear your accent. They'll be like, you ain't meant to be up here.
Yeah. They'll woo. No, they'll basically drop you back at JFK and go, get in this flight.
That happened. A thing happened to my dad one time. He was in Chicago when he was in his 20s, and he got on the loop. Do you know the loop?
Yes.
Yeah. So if anyone don't know the loop goes all round Chicago. So it's not like just like the tube here that it goes from this point to this point, goes all round it. And my dad went up to one place and was like, well, what I'll do is I'll just get the train and go back round and see a bit of Chicago, innit?
Right.
And my dad's like, this is a man who took his 2 kids to a fucking bit of Harlem, you know what I mean? And so he's just, but this is the thing, because I had no knowledge of that. Like, and I can understand how he in his 20s had no knowledge that, like, you hear there's a race divide in America. You don't realize it's like segregation still basically goes on.
Still goes on.
So he was just on the loop. And he was like, he was the only white dude on the train at one point.
So he looked like Liam Neeson.
Liam Neeson. My dad is the most liberal dude in the world. Like, he is Mr. fucking liberal, like writes articles all the time and stuff like that. You know, if you know my dad, you know he's a liberal dude. I was like, what happened? He was like, I just knew by the way people were looking at me that I was on. And someone came up to him and was like, dude, you're in the wrong part of town. Yeah, like, get off.
That happens to us black people anywhere in London, really. Like, I remember going to Cheshunt, and I was, and that's like 10 minutes up the road from my house. And I was definitely in the wrong part. I mean, we got chased. This is when I was, 15.
See, I've been saying with, like, white privilege. Do you see how, like, amazed I was that I wasn't allowed somewhere? Do you see, like, it really does exist?
It happens.
Do you see how...
It happens to us all the time, bro.
Do you see how I was...
I went to Hackney Wick and got chased out. Do you know what I mean? Get that vagabond out of here.
Do you see how steeped in privilege we really are? That I turned up somewhere and I was like... They bloody wouldn't let me in.
Don't you know who I am? White privilege.
What do you mean I can't go there?
You look like Boris Johnson.
What is this?
Where's Mammy? Where's Mammy?
Well, I'm going to go there. I belong there. I belong everywhere. I'm white.
You know, my granddad built this fucking land.
We are such entitled people, aren't we?
Mate, 10 minutes up the road from my house, I would get chased. That's how bad it was. I'd walk out of school and the NF would be outside waiting to beat up all the ethnics. Yeah. And I grew up in Edmonton. I love Edmonton. I'm flipping, like, love my flipping area. But, mate, you come out of that area, yeah, you're getting chased. And this, I mean, I don't know about now, but I'm just talking about my upbringing. Yeah, you couldn't go Enfield. At one point, you couldn't go Enfield. Enfield was like a mile away from my school. And, like, what we used to do as young kids, when we left school, like, at the end of the day, to get the bus home, we'd walk. I don't know if anyone else done this. This was just us. But we'd walk backwards, not backwards as in direction, but we'd walk to the furthest bus stop to get the bus so it's not so crammed at our bus stop.
Yeah.
So because our bus stop has got the whole school waiting to get. So then we'll jump on the bus stop before or the bus stop, and then we go. Oh, like at the end of the day, we'd be like, oh, we've got like £3. And that day, in them days, that will get you a burger, Big Mac meal or something. So we're going to Enfield, but you don't realise you got the skinheads there. So when we're going to Enfield, we got to be like checking our shoulders because when we come outside, the skinheads are waiting, and then we got to get chased, and that's all part of the story.
Yeah. Do you know what? Londoners aren't friendly. Do you know what? Yeah, fair point.
I mean,
we're not friendly.
I can ring up my boy E-Man right now, and I'll tell you this now. We went football training. I've got to say this one. We went football training, and this is another place. I live in Edmonton, and this was in, not Ballsmore, is it? Carratch Lane. Anyone listening would know about Carratch Lane. It's about 10 stops from my house. This is how I'm trying to say how close it is. It's close. Yeah. We're talking about 95, 94, 95. Elton was he still in school? Was I still in school? I think so. So 95, 96, say. Yeah, so I'm 16 now. But no. 14, 15. So 94, 95, I'd say. And we're going football training. We used to play for this top club called, at the time, I don't know if they're the top now, I think, but Enfield Rangers, top club. But this is the true story. We're walking, right, to the training. And every week, I'll never go on my own for football training. I'd have to go with my mates because we're going to get chased or whatever.
Shit.
Yeah. You don't get mugged. We never get mugged. We'll get chased, right? And there was a £1 coin stuck to the floor outside someone's racist house. So when the first time you go, when you see a nugget on the floor, I mean, you're going to pick it up because you're 14, and that is like king. I mean, you're thinking about taking someone's cinema with that £1. You know what I mean? You're like, wow, I found £1. But it's stuck to the floor. So then when the first time you go there, you start kicking it. You're like, oh, fuck. And you think, shit, if they're watching outside, they'll come out the house and chase you. It's a trick to fucking, chase you. So one day anyway, we're walking back from training, knackered obviously from playing football, whatever, and we're chatting along. There must have been 1, 2, 3, I think 4 of us, and so the 2 of us are black, one's Asian, I think. I can't remember where is he from. Mauritius. Is that Asia?
I don't know. I think that's from.
Is that right?
Mauritius is in Europe.
Not Europe.
Mauritius?
Mauritius is not Europe. It's an island, yeah, but it's not Europe.
Yeah, it's in Europe. It's near Africa, I think.
Is it?
So it's African then.
Well, look, I'm white. Everything.
We just left the EU, innit?
Everything to us is like, no. Do we not own that? Well, we will soon. That's how we think.
Boris is definitely. I own all of that.
That's just how we operate. No. We'll stick a flag in it and make it ours.
I feel like we're back in the 1930s. This could not happen in the 1930s. Malcolm X over there will be getting beaten up.
That's what we do. I've never realised how steeped in privilege I am.
You should know this when you wake up in the morning and go, I don't have to go to work. Well, I'm going, Eliott, can you come on my show, please? I need someone. You're like, no, darling, I'm not going to come on your show. I'm fully booked. What was that type of fun? So we're walking back anyway. And it found it funny, like these 2 sort of big white dudes were walking around with this pram. Like they obviously had a baby in it and they're walking around and they're like, oh, stereotype. I'm going to stereotype the skinheads, walking around, bomber jacket. And I remember them, I think we were just laughing, whatever. Next minute, right, they've gone, oh, my friend's ringing, that doesn't matter. And next minute, we turned around and they've gone, oi. They've said something, I can't remember what it was now. They've gone, oi. And all of a sudden, I've just sped it, right? Run. We just run off. My boy Elton, he's I've got to say, he's tough as nails, this kid. Like, like you wouldn't want to mess with him. Like, honestly, like, he's got that stare. Like, yeah, just don't mess with my boy. Do you know what I mean? But I'm running off. I haven't got that face, right? So I'm off. I'm gone. Turn around, Elton's just standing there, and the boys are trying to, like, these two guys are trying to intimidate my mate, and he's not having none of it. But we're like at the next bus stop looking to go home. But you can't leave your boy there. You can't leave your boy behind. So anyway, this is a true story, right? So it's me and my mate Phil, I think it was. No, Phil ran off like a bit of a pussy. To be fair, he had his bag. I don't know what he was doing. I love Phil. I don't want to cuss him, but I'm just saying. Anyway, so we got in his car, right? So two black people saw us running. It's like, bro, what's happening? It's like, man, yeah. It's like, yo, man, you know the white people down there, yeah? It's like, what you doing down here? I'm like, I don't know, man. He's like, what? They're chasing you, man, yeah? It's like, yeah, man. Remember, we're young in it. And he's like, older lot, yeah? They're like, jump in the car, yeah? This is XR2I, yeah? Yeah? It's like XR2I. So we're like young. So like, you know, we jumped in the car, like, yeah, we jumped in the car. And they're speeding like, what do they say to you? What they call you what? What do they say? And this is the time when jungle's in. So when the jungle's playing in the car, you're just like, yeah, I am now motivated to fight everyone. Right? So now we've gone down this side street. We've gone straight down to see these guys, right? And one of the big guys, so Elton's fine. Elton's standing there, and I don't know what they're saying to him, but he ain't having a bar of it, this guy. And I remember this kid had just stood in the middle of this like side bit down Carteret, stood there, and we've turned up, and the geezer's gone, you've got brothers, I've got brothers, you got cousins, I got cousins. Get out of the car, let's fight. You know what the geezer done? It would reverse back. I said, what about being black, man? What about being black? Fuck that, man. 3-point turn and dropped us back to the bus stop. Fuck's sake! We're back to square one. I thought we was gonna unite. Oh man! I've never seen someone go. Oh, it was so embarrassing. So yeah, so we had to go back. We had to go back and fucking fight. But by that point, to be fair, my boy was just like, they didn't do nothing in the end. But that was one of the funniest stories with the skin. I'm crying right now because my boys hear this, they're gonna be laughing their head off.
You know those fights you get in when you're like younger, and you just. I remember there was one. It's not the same thing, but we turned up. My boy's cousin got in he lived on this estate, innit? And he'd always get in trouble with the kids from this estate in Annerley, near where I live, yeah? Okay. But, like, how do I explain this? It said, these boys on this estate, they were just wild, innit? Mm-hmm. They were just wild. They were like white wild and black wild, and they united and made this multicultural wildness, bro. It was
so solid crew.
Bro, yeah, it's funny you say that because like I've never where I grew up in London, that's never been a thing, innit? It's never really been like sort of necessarily like what's that kind of person doing in the area. It's It's more like it's more postcode.
Yes, yeah. Postcode was
So there's this estate in Anley, and they didn't. It wasn't that they didn't fuck about. They were just like starting everyone.
They were
always causing trouble. My boy's cousin lived there, and he was just a bit of an idiot. Like he was just one of them guys. It was just like, oh, bro, why you got to start a fight with them? Like, why has it got to be now that we got to fucking go and have a fight with them? And so one day, like, I'm around my mates, and his cousin calls him, and he's like, yeah, bro, I need you boys to come down here now. So I like got on the phone to my boys, innit? And one of my boys knew all the boys from Annerley. So like I call him up. I'm like, maybe you could come down, like see what's going on, because like at least then it's not like 7 of us. Oh no, it was about 4 of us. It's not 4 of us turning up on like 5 of them, and no one knows who anyone is, innit? So my boy's like, cool, walks down there, and like my boy didn't fuck about. He was like one of those guys. Like he just came from his uncle was a coke dealer and stuff. He was just from one of them kind of families. We get down there, and he sees like my mate's cousin was in a scrap with a boy from this estate that you just didn't want to be in a scrap with. You just didn't want to be fucking about with him. So he talked it out, walked off. I was like, "You solved that?" And my mate went, "No, he's gonna be fucking him up." Right? He was like, no, he's gonna be thumping him up in it. But he's like, to be honest, bruv, I just don't know your mate's cousin, innit? So fuck him. It was just, and then I was like, what? And he was just like, he was like, look, go down there and fight. He's like, you don't want to be fucking with them. Yeah, you know what I mean? It was one of them ones. And then I was just like, I come from a nice home. Why am I involved?
I love how you play, right? You can always play like the urban circuit and the mainstream. You're like, oh, I'm middle class today. I am not going to get into
No, but I was like, when I was like 16 and stuff and go through that age of getting into like fights and all of those things, yeah, there was a thing that happened where I remember I just didn't want to be. I started comedy at 16, innit? And when I think it was just after I started that, like I had to look at some of my boys back home, like, and I see them every now and then, and I'm like, oh shit, you guys are still doing the same fucking thing in your 20s? Like you're still like, yeah, bro, I'm repping ends. And you're like, why? Get a job.
That's your middle class going at you, bro.
It's not. It's just like, why are you fucking doing this?
Repping ends.
Like, yeah, bro, I'm repping it. What? Thornton Heath. Stormzy's doing enough of it. Like he fucking had it flash up at Glastonbury. And what? Because you're selling fucking weed still. You on about? Fucking idiot.
Rapping ends.
You know when people start trying to be like, I think being a roadman has a cut-off.
Yeah.
Once you're 22, once you're 19, you can't be a roadman anymore.
There's still roadmen at 50, bruv. How you mean?
Quit.
Quit.
Have you not upgraded?
There is one roadman I see, right? And when I see him come out the bookies, and I'm like, this guy is still living back in the day. Like he's still living like he's not living up to date because he still comes out with FUBU. It'll still come out with Average jacket or something, and I'm like, rah, like this is a blast from the past. I ain't fucking with this guy. You know what I mean? But I'll tell you one last story about Chesney getting chased. There was
Hey, it's your boy Marc Strictly here, and we're here to talk about Strictly Laughter. Yes, Strictly Laughter on Friday the 27th of March. And we've got a massive lineup. We've got Gary Delaney. Yes, we've got Gary Delaney from Live at Apollo and Mock of the Week. We've also got Kay Kurd, Fern Brady, Eliott Steel, and Kazim Jamal. I cannot wait. All at the Dugdale Theatre in Enfield. Where'd you get your tickets from? I hear you ask. We get your tickets from www.strictlylaughter.com, where we're on our second release and very, very limited tickets at that. See you soon.
One time we went to, we're idiots, but we went to Cheshunt. I think we was about 15, maybe 14 actually. Yeah, 14. Should never have been there really, but we went to like this under 16s disco type thing that you do.
Yeah.
And
they always used to be. I never went to any one of them things, but I remember that was always trouble.
Yeah, because you got people from all different areas coming down. Yeah, so we went to Cheshunt like we're repping Emerton, you know what I mean? And so we've gone down there, and it must have been me and my boy E, Shanky. Shout out to you, Shanky B, who's black, and then you've got John, who's Greek, Luke, who's white. Was it just us? 4 of us. Right, and my other mate, Dominic, is mixed race. He's somewhere else. I don't know what he's doing. Anyway, so in Cheshunt, right, there's a roundabout. It's a pond, yeah? Like, but it's massive, right? And I thought I was P. Diddy these times. I was wearing all white, thinking I'm the man, whatever. And we're trying to catch the last bus. So I don't know what Luke and John is doing. Sounds like the disciples, isn't it? Matthew, Mark, Luke and John. Right? I don't know what they're doing on the other side of the road. But O's like one of the quickest guys in school. Like, this guy's calf was like Optimus Prime's head. You know what I mean? It's massive. Like, this guy, like, he's gone. I was medium fast, whatever, right? So, but it's never good to run behind someone that's quicker than you, in a sense, right? So, you understand, Jess? So he's running, and we're trying to get the bus. The bus is there. We can see it. We was chatting to a couple of girls, most likely got longed. But them days where you get pen and paper out and go, what's your number? There was no phone them days, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, we're running for the bus, and he's jumped over this massive pond, like
massive pond. You know the pond's not been looked after.
Yeah.
And I'm wearing all white, and I got to go after him. So as he's running, he's gone. It was like Mario Kart. You know, Mario. What's the racing one? It's Mario Kart, isn't it? And they go wee, and they go over. Yeah, it was like that, and he's gone off. And because I'm watching his feet, and I've sort of stumbled a bit, and I've gone, oh fuck, jumped, and I've gone, shit, gone into the fucking algae.
Oh.
I'm wearing all white, man. I was doing really good until then. So I popped up my head like this, and I've got like fucking shit on my head, algae everywhere.
Fuck.
Now I stink like shit. Do you know what I mean? So everyone's laughing at me that scene. It's funny, let's be honest, but I feel like a right prick. So we've come back, we've missed the bus. There's no Uber these times, yeah? Once you're stuck, bruv. Like, you're stuck. The only thing you can think about is walking home. And that feels like it was going to take 2 months to even just get to the end of the road. Like, it was far. Anyway, so we come back to where John and Luke was. And the next minute now, I'm not, I shit you not, honestly, there was like 60 skinheads, right? Surrounding us out of nowhere. And we were like, oh, fuck. And it was like I saw like the headlines, Mark in White died today. Do you know what I mean? It was like you just saw your whole life flash before you. But these, so they started to surround us, but we held our own in a sense. It sounds stupid, but we held our own. So we was like, you know, maybe fronting it like, yeah, what's up, dude? What's up? And they were like, yeah, you man from Bullsmore or something. We were like, nah, man, we're from Everton. Like, repping Everton, you know what I mean? So they didn't even look at me, yeah? Or, to be fair, they were looking at my white mate, the only white guy in the whole crew. It was like, why are you hanging around with these boys? Do you know what I mean? So now they're pissed off that one of the white guys are moving with the ethnics. You know what I mean?
That's such a fucked up perspective to have, man.
But so they were having a go at my boy Luke. And they were like, where are you from? We were like, no, he's from the ends. He's from our ends, isn't it? It's like, no, you're from Bullsmore. So next minute, right? So so John goes, run, yeah? Because one guy they got their belts out. These boys were smart. You know you can't walk around with tools on you anymore. Back in the day, people used to have. I don't know if you knew this because I know you look. I'm not trying to patronise you. You're a bit younger, but there used to be Lucasade bottles made out of glass.
Yeah.
People used to put that in their back pocket all the time and have a little bit of juice left to say, I'm still drinking it. So if the police stopped you, because you couldn't be stopped with an empty bottle because then that's like bait. Why are you walking around with an empty bottle? You're not that, what's it called, eco-friendly. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to find a bin. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So you always lift a little bit because you can bottle someone. And these things, if you got bottled with a Lucasade bottle and lived to tell the tale, it was like, man, you see this scar? It's a Lucasade bottle. And everyone would be like, right, man, you survived, yeah? Man, that's a big thing. Do you know what I mean? There was no knives back then. It just, the final thing was getting bottled. But these boys were smart. They had belts, big buckles. And one got and one out. And that's when John went, run! So we all started running to different directions, right? Now, my mode of thinking was, if I run across the road and get knocked down, the ambulance will come and save me. And my mum's a nurse, so she can look after me, right?
Like the skinheads are going to call an ambulance.
But this was stupid in my head.
They're going to fucking stop being racist for a minute.
Man down, people. Mankind has just lost a black man.
They're gonna pour their last bit of the Lucasade bottle on the floor for you.
It goes out to one of our homies, man. We didn't know he wasn't from Bullsmore. He goes out to Beef Stick, man. He goes out to Beef Stick, DJ. Oh, my days. So I ran across the road, right? And I've turned round and I've gone, oh, shit, there's still 10 of them. And they're looking, so I'm surprised I didn't get knocked down. The only time that I never could have got knocked down in my life was then. Because basically everyone stopped. It was like, yeah, oh no, let the black guy get chased. It was like that. So I ran across, turned around, and I've got like these 10 skinheads running after me. Luckily, I wasn't the size I was now, because I'd have been, just kill me now, guys. I'm out of breath just telling this story, let alone running from them. So this long road was like about 2 miles long, and I'm running, and I'm still running, and I got to the end. Anyway, I remember as I keep turning around every now and again, obviously 10 become 8, 8 become 5, then there's 3, and then, I don't know, I lost them. I got to the Cheshunt train station, but then I can hear the XR2 again. Yeah, with the joke, like the Escort 3i, like proper, like these are the skinhead cars, and they're like back in the day, a Ford Escort XR3i. So yeah, they jumped in that, I think, and went in the car, and I thought, oh, I'm fucked. I'm gonna get a fucking battery in here. So I went underneath a car and just stayed still.
Yeah.
Because I'm still in my white shit. Yeah, and I'm like literally underneath this car, like all dripping on me. I'm just staying still. And they got out of their car, and I remember like literally the car, no word of a lie, literally the car went like parallel next to me, whatever. I can see their feet and going, where's this motherfucker? Well, in different words. Yeah. And I can see their feet just going around, and I'm like, if I get caught here, like, what am I doing underneath a car now? I'm such a prick. Like, what am I doing? But I laid still. And they walked around and was like, he must have gone that way. Yeah. Jumped in the car and went that way and went off.
That is terrifying.
Mate, I stayed there for about 5 minutes. I think I must have shat myself so much, but no one would ever know because I'd algae all over me anyway. So no one would have mattered. And then I remember like coming out of there, my mate Dominic was in a kebab shop. And I've gone into a kebab shop going like, oh, Dominic, oh, like, what's going on? Like, you know, I'm just all frantic. And he was like, oh, I'm just going to get I've got a cab ordered. And I'm like, cab at this age? Like, we're 14. Like, where'd you get the money for cab? Like, his mum was saying. I was like, fuck. Do you know what I mean? He's mixed race. He's had half the white privilege. And I remember jumping home with him. But back in those days, yeah, like now, you can ring your mate or text, you're all right, mate, where are you? Those days, yeah, you had to ring someone's house phone. So thinking about, now we're at home about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, in the morning.
You can't ring your mates.
No, so you got to ring the house phone of the parent and go, like, hello, Mrs. John's mum, so I don't want to say the surname. Is he there? Then you go, where are the parents? Where's my son? And all that. And what happened to them, so I got safely back to Finn, I had to stay on my mate's floor. But what happened to them, literally, I didn't know this, two sort of, or 3 or 4 like buildings down was the police station. So they was running towards the police station, right? And then obviously one of the coppers coming back to drop off the car or whatever, saw this happening and then come out and start arresting people and that. And then them two got saved. So, or 3 of them, they got saved. And then I don't know how they got home. I think maybe the police actually dropped them back to Baltimore actually and say, on your way. But they got helped by the police, I can't lie.
What a group of cunts those lads are though. Like.
Mate, honestly, like, that's how we grew up. Like, if we step out of town, you have to know you're going to get chased tonight. Like, if you're going to...
Fuck, really?
Yeah, like, this happens all the time. This is like my childhood, bruv. Like, just running away from white people and the CSA. Do you know what I mean? It's just like... just run away. Just, hey, you, come back. You should be here. But that's... Honestly, that is what happened when we was young. On a regular basis, really, like nearly every day you're running, or you're fighting someone.
Sad, you know that. Like, I mean,
so you going in Harlem, mate? Yeah. I bet your dad was like, "Listen, we're middle class people.
No,
look at these like."
My dad was like, "Oh, let's go to that chicken shop." That not...
Morley's.
No, I was some shop in Harlem, and like we just fucking didn't. Because Harlem's fine. Like this was 10 years ago. We went to Harlem. Like I think if you go Harlem now, I think. Most of it's all right.
I think so.
It's the Bronx you got to worry about.
I think the Bronx is it regenerated is the word, isn't it? Is it
Harlem, all right. Harlem's come gentrified. Like I said,
gentrified.
Like,
that's it. Sorry, gentrified.
Bronx is not
still shit. Oh,
Bronx is not. No, you don't want to go. For anyone on it, I think like there was. I was watching a comedy show and a comedian came on and was like, "I live in the Bronx," and everyone was like, "Whoo!" Like wow. Genuinely, they were like, "Wow."
Yeah.
Good for you, man. Like, I'm not even kidding. They like applauded the fact that he lived there.
Wow.
They were like, that's tough.
Right, man. Well, I don't know. But
that's fucked up, man. I've never been. Nah, never had. The only time I got smacked about for like I got smacked about by some white people before.
Wow.
In Bromley.
Wow. How did that go down?
These girls were in this shop innit, and they were like yelling at the shop guy, and I think I was like 16. No, I was about 16. I was in college, and I was just like, I said something, but I didn't say anything to them. I said like, I think the shopkeeper had been a bit weird with them. I was like, oh, good for you girls, don't have it, and I walked out. And they just came out, Rob, and these were they were like travellers, gypsies, innit? And they were like, "What the fuck were you saying to me?" And I was like, "I wasn't saying anything to you." And they walked down, told the boys, innit? I was like, "Fuck." And I was with 2 of my mates, innit? And my 2 mates, they weren't like, no matter who I was with, I was in trouble. Like, so I just stand there and I'm waiting for my bus, and I can see them all pointing at me, and I'm like, oh, fuck. So they all came up and they surrounded me, and they were like, what are you doing up here? Like all of that, like where you from? What are you talking to the girls for? And all of that. And I was going like, oh, bruv, look, I was dumb in it. I was like, I'm from Croydon, innit? And they were like,
that ain't gonna help you, man. That ain't gonna help you.
No, I know. And they were like just going for me, like, what are you? And then one of them just went, bow, just smacked me in the jaw, innit? And I didn't go down. Yeah. Like I knew, like if I went down, I was.
You can't.
I wasn't get back up because I didn't go down. They were like, cool.
This one punch wonder was like
my jaw was fucked, innit? Because I've been punched in the jaw loads of times. Like
you do Muay Thai and stuff, don't you?
Not even that. Just like I was a mouthy teenager.
I was a bit of a cunt.
I got when I was 15. Yeah, like I was going through the park. Yeah, like so where my school was, I was on study leave, and I was going down the park. I was on my skateboard. I used to just skateboard down through the park, get to school and stuff, yeah. I got down there and there was two lads coming through the entrance, so I jumped off, picked my thing up, but I had headphones on, innit? So they started doing like the where you from, what you say, but I had headphones on, so I couldn't hear none of this. So I just like take my headphones down, and before I know it, one of them just went bang into my face. I've dropped, and they're going into my phones, and I'm just like kicking them off. I'm like, what? Like all of a sudden, like get off me. I ran into school, and I just grabbed all of the boys.
Yeah, that's
that was just as school ended. I ran in, I grabbed all of the boys, innit?
All of three.
And then, like, yeah. Well, and we couldn't find them, innit? But we were like we were gonna fuck them up. But like we were like 15, and they were like in their 20s. Yeah,
like,
so they were like, it was also like one of them ones where they're like, when we told like the olders and the ends, they were like, why they jumping youngers?
Yeah, I love that. When we was growing up, especially down my sides, we used to play football. Like we must have been like 10 or 8, and like we'd be playing football with like 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds, like big ass men, like playing football. Like those were the days. Do you know what I mean? There was no paedophiles, it was just flashes them days. Man would come out the bush and look at me, I'm flashing. You know what I mean? But it was but there was no paedophiles around. It was just weird. Like, but now there is. I don't know how they just resurged. But those days was just magical because you always had someone to like look after you and whatever else. Yeah. We always knew someone of someone. You know what I mean? Like, I remember the boys who used to say, "Oh yeah, if you go that way, mention our name, or whatever." And do you know what I mean? You kind of feel like safe and that. Yeah, but they were white boys, so when we went Cheshunt, that wasn't good for us.
Yeah, white people do operate like scummy white people operate on a different level. Like it was just like I don't even know how to put it. We're like the scummy white people I know. They're just.
I'm happy you said that, not me, because I don't want to say the word.
They are like no, I mean like those.
Chavs,
like,
is it chavs?
No, not even chavs. I just mean like racist, scummy white people.
Okay.
Because I don't know. I think like I'm not going to say obviously from my experience that there was no one I really knew at school that happened to. Like no one would be
chased
by white people for being black. There was no one at school, at my school, that I think that happened to.
What, in South London?
Yeah,
Croydon.
I went to school in Lambeth.
What? So that never happened down there?
Not that I'm aware of.
Well, obviously you wouldn't. You just think they're just doing athletics training. Yeah. No wonder the black people in front. Go Tyrone, go!
Remember, this is how racist. Like, this is the thing, yeah. Like, the racists at our school were like the teachers, isn't it?
Oh my god!
Like, so, but like they weren't like. It was just like ignorance because like we'd be playing football, like play for the football team, yeah, and they would look at the other school. Like I think there was me and 3 other white boys on the team, innit? Mm-hmm. No, I was a goalkeeper. That was my position, yeah, because white people go in goal.
We all know that black people are not very good in goal. That's cool, man. Don't worry. I'm happy you said that. I've got one black friend that went in goal and he was dog shit. Sorry, Trav. You was shit in goal. Not because it's just DNA just says you was going to be shit.
But like, my teacher
He's going to kill me.
Would look at like another school would come, innit?
Yeah.
And like just be like, yeah, I think they got a bit of pace about them, lads.
Oh my God.
Because there'd be a black team, so they'll just put all the black lads on strike. And there'd be a teacher would be like, I was like, oh, have you played them before? No, you just know when you're in PE.
It's the eye. I've got the eye.
Yeah.
Mate, you know I work in football, innit, yeah? And I've been working in football for 22 years. My actual main thing is football coaching. And the amount of times when people ask me to scout and they go, this is not God honest truth. This is what people will always skirt around me about race and stuff, right? So they'll go, yeah, we're looking for someone big, athletic, you know, bit raw. And I'm like, that don't mean white people then. Do you know what I mean? You're looking for an African player, West Indian player, whatever. You're looking for a black person, basically. Right. Because when people say, but when they go, we need a technical player to be a defensive midfielder, you go, technical. Yeah. I mean a white player. Yeah. And that's the truth. No one can ever tell me anything different. That is the truth. When people skirt around me and go, we're looking for someone 6'2", muscular, it ain't a white guy they're talking about who can run through brick walls like we're dickheads. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's a black player you're talking about.
Though, that people skirt around at races. Just saying that though, I can't think of one time I was just thinking about, there was a race war at my school.
Was there?
Yeah.
And you didn't notice any white people? Did you notice you chasing any black people? All your mates go, why were you just chasing Tyrone or Jermaine?
It was down to because we used to like
as a disclosure, I know he's not racist, please don't.
You see how I tried to skirt through that? Does that like wasn't said?
Oh, hold on, off the curb is calling me. Cancel that. No. He's my boy. He's cool.
We used to like just every now and then we started doing like white v black football just as like it just.
They done that in. I heard about this. Sorry to click my fingers at you. I think it was Ian Wright. Is it? I think they've done this at Millwall or something, or they used to
like training, is it?
Or Crystal Palace or someone.
Millwall, it makes sense.
No, Millwall obviously, but I'm sure Ian Wright was involved in this. That's why I know he was never at Millwall. I have to find the facts about this. Right. But there was I remember this story every Friday. He
started at Millwall, didn't he?
Did he?
Ian Wright started. He was
no Palace. It was Palace.
He got his professional thing at Palace, but I'm sure he played for Millwall Academy.
I'm not sure. That I don't know.
He did.
But I'm gonna have to message him. I mean, I don't know him, but I'm gonna message him and go. This story is notorious. On the Friday, or was it Wimbledon? Back in the 80s. No, it can't have been Wimbledon. Wimbledon was never like that. I don't believe. But yeah, and they would have white versus black on a Friday for training for 5-a-sides. I thought, what the fuck is that about? But that's the time that you're living in.
Yeah. Well,
anyway,
we did that at school.
Fucking hell. To be fair,
it wasn't like like white people. We suggested it in PE one time. It was like cool.
Do you know what? You're not wrong though, because anyone that's thinking, Eliott School was a bit fuckery. No, Emma and Cat was fuckery as well. I'm not going to say it as well, because we used to have. I'm not going to say no names, right? But we had like the hardest white boy fight the hardest black guy in our year.
So that's what happened.
Yeah, that's what happened. It happens. It happens in all. Well, I'm sure not on all schools, not in Eton. You know what I mean? Hardest white guy versus the hardest white guy.
So the two like let's just for
athletes and technical guys.
Let's just for purposes. Let's name one of them.
Kunta.
I'm not going to call him that. Let's call one of them. Let's call one of them Sam. Let's call one of them Josh. Yeah.
Okay.
Sam was the big tough white kid, right?
Okay.
Josh.
Black kid. Josh.
He's not called that, but let's just say I don't want to name names for real.
Jermaine.
Let's call him Jermaine. Right.
Yeah, it's easier.
So, just Sam and Jermaine.
Yeah.
They ended up having a fight in year 9, innit? Jermaine battered Sam, like battered him. Yeah. Sam went and got his brother. His brother's pulled up in a car and he like had a strap and a baseball bat.
He didn't reverse, did he?
No. But like he was like, because I think his family were like, I wasn't too friendly with Sam. I thought he was a bit of a cunt. Like he was just a nasty kid, innit? And he came from one of those like scummy white families I'm talking about, where people, you know what I mean? And he ended up getting out of the car. So like obviously Jermaine, let's just say for name fits, stood there and just had to take a beating from him. I had to just take a beating, innit? And so all Jermaine's mates ran into a shop, got bottles, started launching it at the car and stuff. So they had that in like year 9. And then obviously the football team in like year 10 were doing quite well, doing okay. And then in year 11, like Jermaine had just carried this for years. Had just carried it, innit? And like we were all leaving school one day, and I was in geography with Jermaine. And we weren't like mates, but we were cool. And he was just like to me, he was like, "Let your boy know as soon as study leaves on, I'm fucking getting him. And I'm like, he's not even my boy. I'm not even in like close. He's like, just let him know, innit? So I was like, all right. So we're leaving. We do our English exam, and at the end of the English exam, they go, oh, by the way, you're now all on study leave. So they'll tell you at my school, so no one could plan shit. This is the kind of school I went to, innit? So we all leave, and I'm just like, oh no. I'm like, oh no. So Jermaine comes out of school, sees my boy Sam, and he just goes like, what's up, innit? He's like, what? And he just boom, 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 like goes down. Like, let me tell you how vicious this beating was. Cars are pulling up, like trying to get him off him. And his other mates are trying to jump in. And I was cool with his mates, and I jumped in. I was like, look, if you jump in, all of his boys are going to jump in. And some of them are my boys. So we're all going to be like, there's no, just let him, he's taking his beating. Just took his beat, like, I mean, it was savage, innit? And then ended up going, he did deserve it. Like, I ended up going back to his with him, and I was like, oh, you're right. He was like, oh, he was going all nuts and stuff.
Who, Jermaine?
No, Sam, the white lad took the beating, innit? Like,
Okay.
And then I ended up going back down to school, seeing like Jermaine, and was just like, bit excessive. Jesus. I was just like, but it was just a thing, like, the only thing I had in common with this, like, Sam character was race. There was no...
But you went back to his house, you said?
Yeah, I went back with him, because his mate Dylan and stuff, I was best mates with.
Right.
So I was only friends with him in terms of, like, the mutuality of friends.
Acquaintance.
Yeah. The only thing we had in common is that we were the same kind. I never liked him. I thought he was a bit of a bully of a person.
Right.
But there was no one who, like, he wasn't the hardest white kid though, to be fair. He was just
Just a bit of a prick.
He made race the issue. If there was ever a race issue at my school, he was involved in it.
Yeah, no, race was big at our school, I think, without realising it. Now we're sort of, going back. I mean, and Street Fighter was a massive thing as well, because I remember this fight. People was going, Hadouken! I remember honestly, it was like this one. I'm not going to say who was who, but if they listen to it, they will actually know. And like, this was like down some side street sort of alleyway in garages or something. And I remember you say the whole school is watching. The whole school is packed down this alleyway, and it's been talked about since lunchtime. It was like watching like Wilder Fury in a sense. Everyone's like, oh, you gotta go to the garages. Go down to the garages at 3:30.
Oh, did you have that place where you had a fight?
Yeah. And like, we all thought that no one else, like the teachers never knew. It was so bait. It was like more or less opposite the school. It was so bait. And the whole year's down there and that, and it was savage. But I mean, my school had some hard people. I mean, we had people from outside of Edmonton as well, so it was a tough school, I'd say, in the sense of like, I don't know about race being like, race was obviously into it, but we was a hard school. There were harder schools, like we used to fight like other schools. Which brought everyone together.
That's what I was gonna say.
I used to love that when we used to go and fight Latimer. They were like Latimer's like the intellectual lot. We'd smash them up, but they were like the closest one to us. But we'd smash them. But then if we come to like, I remember we had to try and fight Salisbury, and half of our lot hanged around with Salisbury lot. So it's tough then. So it's like, because there was a lot of like, Salisbury was a tough school. I don't think they like. Their English exam was like CDT, do you know what I mean? No one ever graduated from Salisbury and done well, do you know what I mean?
we had to fight. But I swear to God, I would have never been involved in a fight anyway, because the fights were like always the other way home from me.
Yeah. So
I was always just like, when people were like, we're going to go fight them, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to go home. I don't really care about the school that much.
Yeah,
And we got in a fight with a school, Elm Green, innit? But so our school used to be an all-girls school, so we were the first year of boys integrated in, and school was a new school. So our boy was the first year. Our school had the first mixed year, as they just had a first year. They never had a year above them. So in our school, our year, because no one would ever like. I joined in year 8. I used to go to a school called Ashburton, and that was tough. That was a tough Croydon school. People used to come in and let fireworks in people's faces. That was bad school. But at the other school, because no one had ever beaten our year up, our year was just cool. No one was really trying to smack up the younger years or anything like that. But the year 7s and stuff, because we never did that, the year below us were always like mouthing off on the way home. They never had anyone like... So like, they would always start shit. And then it happened in about year 9 or year 10 we had a big fight with the school, Elm Green, and it just got like out of hand. People ended up bringing knives and stuff. And then we had I was on school council, innit? And then they made us have like a sit-down meeting.
You was on school council?
Yeah, I was on school council.
I'm thinking that this guy is a big, like, you know what I mean? He's involved and he's like on the school council. Please, please pick up the litter.
I was never.
While Jermaine's battering.
I was never involved in any of the fights at school.
School councillor?
Yeah, I didn't give a fuck. Like,
But what are you doing as a no? Don't get away. What are you doing as a school? I know in my school there was no way. Did you have is it prefects and all that? Did you have a little badge?
No, I was a prefect though. I didn't get bit, but I got.
What school did you go to?
I was
middle school, innit? Like a boarding school.
No. Well, cause you had a school council. Every school had school council.
Bruv, no man. The Enfield Council was our council. That was it. That was it. We had no school council.
Oh yeah, you'd have a school council, and you'd have to like one person from each year be on school council, innit? And like I was like in my school council, but like it's like a nothing position. It's a nothing. It's not like you're now you get to see the inner workings of the school. It's like, well done, you get a badge. It was nothing. It was nothing.
Your head in my school would have been flushed under loo, I think.
But I'd have taken beatings.
I would have protected you though in school. You'd have been cool.
I'll tell you about Ashburton. I'll tell you why Ashburton was wild, yeah. So in Croydon you got Luna House, yeah, which is like the immigration centre. So if you like back then, if everyone immigrating would have to come through at some point through Luna House, I think. So when like the war with Afghanistan was on, we started getting like Afghan refugees in our school. But this is the thing, and like no disrespect to them, like in that position I'd probably have done the same thing. But there was like lads turning up who were clearly in their mid-20s, and they'll turn up and be like, they would be like, what's your age? And they'll be like, yeah, I'm 13.
Like Carnu,
what's that?
Carnu, innit?
Oh right, the footballer.
Yeah. He's still 25.
Oh right, yeah. So that started going on, yeah. But like they'd come into school and they'd have like full beards and stuff, but we'd all just be like, no, they've just been at war, so they've like grown older quicker. That was like our logic. And there was this was like a what you doing that for?
Good.
What was that for?
We might have to edit this one out. Because if I can't say certain things in the first one, I don't know if we can say this one.
No, this is generally that was because my mum was a teacher in Croydon.
Go on.
At school in Croydon, and they got. She was like what ended up happening because they never had parents. They ended up taking them to the dentist, and they found out from some of these kids from the thing that they weren't meant to be in school. But I'm not saying it like these fucking people coming.
No.
So they ended up one of like the younger ones who I think was probably like our age in school ended up getting in a fight with a couple of kids, innit? And the other kids rushed him, and then like they just heard about it and were like, nah. And I don't know if you've ever fought people from a war zone.
I'm not that brave.
It's not like lads in our school were like, yeah, I'm bad. I come from Addington.
Addington's not the one, no.
Yeah, no.
Right.
And then these boys came in, and it was like.
Fair enough. All right. Well, listen. Well, thank you for that story. We're going to go to commercial break.
We were talking school fights.
We was, but I don't know where we are. Now we're in Afghan. I don't know what's going on. And teeth. I don't know if he just fucking found Saddam or something. I don't know.
That was a rat.
All right then. I don't know my geography. We'll be back right after the break. Thank fuck. Hey, it's your boy Marc Strictly here, and we're here to talk about Strictly Laughter. Yes, Strictly Laughter on Friday the 27th of March. And we've got a massive lineup. We've got Gary Delaney. Yes, we've got Gary Delaney from Live at Apollo and Mock of the Week. We've also got Kay Kurd, Fern Brady, Eliott Steel and Kazim Jamal. I cannot wait. All at the Dugdale Theatre in Enfield. Where'd you get your tickets from? I hear you ask. We get your tickets from www.strictlylaughter.com, where we're on our second release and very, very limited tickets at that. See you soon.